The House Republicans have filed a long-threatened lawsuit against the Obama administration on the health care law. The lawsuit was filed against the Secretaries of Health and Human Services and Department of Treasury. What do you think of that? Where is it going to go, Alex?
Well, it's potentially an interesting moment when you tie it into what just happened on immigration that I obviously haven't seen the lawsuit that was just filed, but what Republicans have threatened to sue over is the way in which the administration has used executive discretion to implement certain parts of the healthcare law on a different timetable or on slightly different terms than what is actually written in the statutes of the law. Most legal scholars I've talked to about this are not hugely optimistic that for Republicans that this lawsuit will actually take a toll on the administration, that the executive does tend to have pretty broad discretion in a lot of the administrative details of implementing the law. But this is part of what I think is going to be a huge public conversation between Congress and the White House over the next 6 months or 2 years about just what are the powers of the president in a government that is as bitterly divided as I think anyone's ever seen.
Shauna.
I think they've been threatening to do this for a while. It took them a little while to find a lawyer who is willing to take the case. They have found one. It's hard since the announcement came out today not to see this as one of the reactions to what the president is doing on immigration. And you very well, as we talked about before, could see lawsuits from Congress on what the president is doing on immigration, sort of similar, how large can he go with executive actions. But this isn't a surprise, and it plays into this idea that House Republicans and the Senate Republicans have said, we already feel like you're not working with us. We're going to keep going ahead on our path if you're going to keep going ahead on your path.
I see. And the last paragraph of this, which Robert Pear reported for the Times, was that House Republicans struggled to find a law firm willing to take their case. Two withdrew. But on Tuesday, Mr. Boehner hired Jonathan Turley, professor at George Washington University.
And Jonathan Turley is known for these kinds of big lawsuits. He's argued before the Supreme Court many times. This is part of the larger debate on executive action and executive authority. And there's an irony here, because one of the very first things that the Republicans in Congress are going to do when they come back to session in the 114th Congress next January is they're going to give the president more authority. They're going to pass a measure, they're likely to pass a measure that would give the president authority to negotiate trade deals much more smoothly without having to go back to the Senate. So there is a nice little irony here that that President Obama, the person who they believe has overstepped his bounds by so much, is going to get a little more authority right off the bat next year.